evening and welcome once again to the Wednesday night photo show with Dan's Camera City. We are here. We're back. We're back after a couple of weeks of no show because, man, the weather kind of did a number on us for a while there. I'm here tonight with Mike Woodland, one of our co-owners.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Scott. I'm the main photo instructor here at Dan's. And tonight we're here to go through all the prints and take a look at all the pictures from our first virtual print swap and meetup. I mean, the print swap is for real. It's the meetup that is virtual. That's for real too. We're all here. We're just, online. You guys know how this works by now. So what do you think, Mike? How'd this go?
Well, Scott, like you and I talked briefly when we had the idea of doing this, we've done some in-person photo swaps as part of Envision's Photo Festival, which were extremely well received. And I had the pleasure to attend those and see people really enjoy the social interaction, getting to talk with other people who were photo enthusiasts of the same or different genres of photography. And, as I think you saw, we had people at the photo swaps that were in person from 15 to 65. So it was really a great group of people who had the shared common interest of photography and sharing imagery. And you had conventional photography to really creative, illustrative photography. It was wonderful. So I'm really glad our first attempt to bring that into the COVID situation has worked out as well as it did. And I'm really, really thrilled at the participation we've had.
Yeah, for sure. So, we're going to be getting to that shortly, but I know you had a couple of things that you wanted to take a look at before we get into the meat of looking at everybody's pictures, because that's the part I'm excited.
We're not hearing Mike.
Yeah, so basically what we have coming up is kind of related to, our sales that are coming up is something timely, and that is for tabletop and macro photography. This is something you can do in the cold winter months that we're experiencing now. It's great for when you can't really get outside and travel around as much as you'd like. So starting on Wednesday the 24th, so a week from today, through Saturday, March 6th, our features and specials will be focused around macro and tabletop photography. And we're going to have sales on the equipment to do that. We're going to have discounts on rental items to help you do that. You'll be able to get a half-hour free one-on-one instruction, virtual, of course, right now. But half-hour free virtual instruction with the purchase of that gear. We're also going to be discounting rentals, as I mentioned, and you're going to have the opportunity to get savings on our smooth fine art prints. And we'll talk more about that after the print swap when we look at some prints for this evening. But what I'm really excited about for next week's photo show, in order to kick off the sale event for macro and tabletop, we're going to have two of our staff members on. Scott Brenner, who has been with Dan's longer than I have. He started at Dan's before I did many years ago. And Phil Voistock, two very accomplished photographers. And this is just an image. If you've been on our friends and fans Facebook page, this is, I'm going to say, the penultimate example of what we're talking about when we say winter macro and tabletop. This is a shot from Phil.
Right. Normally, like when we're talking about macro stuff, a lot of what we see is flowers and bugs and stuff. And there's all this stuff we can do, this time of year that also lends itself to all this macro stuff. And I don't think we necessarily see a lot of that. So it's really cool to bring some attention to the neat stuff that you can do this time of year. Yeah,
I mean, let's face it, we're all cooped up, right? Cabin fever, just COVID aside, it's dark days, it's cold weather, snow again. And here you're going to get a chance to see how you can capture some truly amazing images in spite of all that. And Phil's photo here, like I said, just a wonderful example. He's going to be on along with Scott Brenner. So I do hope you join us on the 24th for the photo show. Watch the recording if you can't make it. But it's going to be a great, great event.
Yep. Oh, and that reminds me, since the weather forecast is about to turn nasty again, if the roads turn to garbage, we do have when the roads turn to. I was trying to be positive, Mike. It took us a while to dig out after the last one, but the ability to get in touch with somebody at Dan's and have that in-person well, not in person, but the online consult, the little video calls that we're doing has been very cool for when maybe the roads aren't so great. You don't feel like making the drive into Allentown on Route 22.
Yeah, we're very fortunate, and Scott, you see it as being our lead instructor. We have folks who come literally from states away to do business with us for purchases and education. And we realize that technology today kind of helps us remove the barrier of time and travel. So now you can very easily get, and I'm going to say it's one-on-one because it is live, it is video. There's one or two companies doing what they call one-on-one consults, but it's over the phone. And you can't see the gear, you can't see examples through the phone. This is a Google Meet, so it's, you don't have to download anything. It's just right through your computer or smart device. And, our expert staff will help you out with any questions you have, any techniques you need to learn. So it's a great opportunity. I hope everyone takes a look at that and take advantage of it. They're free.
Yeah. What's Jim saying? If it's free, it's for me.
Yeah. You've met him.
All right. So that's our couple little quick things, but why don't we get right into taking a look at what's going on tonight with our print swap. So we're going to switch over to taking a look at some pictures and taking a look at all that stuff with all our friendly faces. So let's see. There we go. Say hi, everybody. All right. So we've got a bunch of people who joined us tonight for our in-person virtual print swap here tonight on the photo show. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. It's great to see you all. You can feel free.
To be seen.
It's great to be seen. All right. So let's get right into it. The print swap was all about you could upload a picture and then everybody's got one picture from everybody else's stuff. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull out my pictures right here and we can start taking a look at some things. Out here. Move this out of the way. Move this out of the way.
And first, I guess, Scott, if we can just, for the folks who didn't participate in the print, just to let folks know, this was something, again, as we just mentioned on our segue, this was our first attempt at this kind of virtual way of bringing it together. All of the participants received an 8x10 of the image they submitted, as well as a 4x6 of all the images that were submitted by everyone else. So our goal was to let you see your image a little bit larger and something you're hopefully putting up in your house or office doing something with. And then also to start kind of building your collection of artwork and photos from other people. All of the photos we purposely chose to print in one of our specialty format or specialty surfaces that would best show off the image. And Scott, you can kind of take it from there with the images. Obviously through the video, you're not going to get to see necessarily the finish on the prints, but hopefully all of you folks who got prints are able to enjoy that.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I did notice that. They do all look really great.
Yeah, the papers are so cool, and it's like, we can like post pictures. That was one of the things that we really wanted to do with this was like, I see pictures and I post pictures on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, but man, it's nice to like have here's a print, like an actual thing I can hold in my hand. So let's take a look at them. What do we got here? First one says Robert Renner, Grizzly with 3 cubs, and I believe you're here with us tonight. Yeah, there we go. So that is a neat shot. Why don't you give us a little backstory here? Where were you that you got this photo? Oh, I can't hear you. We're having a little problem hearing you. All right, well, yeah, we're having a little microphone technical problem there. I can't hear you at all.
Let's come back to Robert then.
All right, we'll come back to or, you know,
Great
like,
photo, Robert.
it is.
We all would love to know where it is.
Yeah, the rest of you are allowed to talk too.
Now, hopefully you weren't too close to those. That's
Right.
hopefully it was a very long telephoto lens.
I was going to say, how fast did you have to run after you shot that?
Like mom and 3 kids.
You're not going to outrun that.
No.
All right, Robert, work on your mic. Let's come back. We want to know more about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, maybe he wasn't the only one. He was just faster than the last one.
Faster than the other guy. This one says, Carol Ecker. I don't know if Carol was able to make it tonight. But this is one of the ones this is that metallic paper, which I always really like on like bird photos, because you get that shiny iridescent sort of thing that you get going on the feathers. That's a neat shot. He's yelling.
Yeah, for rich colors, something like this with that amount of detail, you know, we tend to choose the metallic finish. And this was a case where all of the images came in. Scott, you know, forwarded them over to me. I went to our lab manager, Karen, who's actually also been with Dance longer than I even have. And because she knows best, she sees images every day, all day. I told her, I said, here's these photos, pick between these finishes of paper, use your judgment. She showed me what she just said, boy, these are just fantastic, because, you know, the metallic paper, I think about half of you ended up with the metallic.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you can see just the vibrancy that brings. And I know your images look great on the screen, but kind of like Scott said at the beginning, when you actually have it in your hand, it really is just, that's what it's all about. So, and the image here, I think, is just nicely composed. I love the bluebird on the yellow flowers, so it's really, really contrasty and have kind of the blue, yellow, green palette of the photo. So I think it's very nicely done.
Yeah.
And in the actual print, the detail is incredible, and the color, I think, because the metallic print is wonderful.
Yeah, well, all the detail in the flower here and in the plumage. Like, it's just super sharp. She's got some very nice work. She posts some stuff in the if you're in the Facebook group at all. She's been posting a bunch of neat stuff.
Yeah.
So we got. Hey, David Shaw of the Revivalist Music Fest 2019.
Yep, that's mine. And I think you just told me what it is. It was at Music Fest in 2019.
Yeah.
I actually was able to get a photo pass because the Banana Factory had a deal where you could get like an hour class, and then you got to go be in the pit for the first 3 songs. So that's how I got such a great shot. I was right there.
That's really cool.
I really like that shot. Yeah.
You want to see live music again.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
It's starting slowly.
Yeah. I saw they just released the new Music Fest poster, and
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to hope we can be back to this kind of position for this coming year, because, you know, this is a really, really challenging photo environment, because, you know, generally performers are moving around, they're energetic.
Mm-hmm.
The light is kind of bright to your eye, but it's not really bright for photographically speaking. So,
yeah.
You know, the combination of good access, Tina, I'm going to assume you had a pretty fast lens, pretty decent low light capability camera for this.
Mm-hmm. I had my Canon 77D, and actually I looked at the file info because it's taken a while since I took the photo. And actually, I think I was using my kit lens for this. I was switching back and forth between that and my 70-200 Tamron 2.8 because I didn't have a smaller good lens, but it took a pretty good shot.
Yeah,
right.
and you got
this guy does. He moves around a lot, but he was also sort of playing, I think, to the photographer too. So, worked out.
Good. And what did you think of the photo now that you actually had a tangible print?
Oh, actually, I'm getting it framed. I have to wait 2 weeks to get it now.
Great.
It's one of the favorite shots I've ever taken, to be honest. But I take a lot of concert photography. That's my thing. So.
You do a bunch of concerts?
Good.
I do. Yeah. In fact, I just posted some. I volunteer at Sellersville Theater also, and I
Oh,
just posted
cool.
some yesterday or this morning. I guess this morning. Of Gabe Stillman, who's a young
Okay,
blues guy.
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
those photos. Yeah.
Yep.
Sellersville Theater is a neat little venue.
It is. I love it.
And I'll tell you, if you haven't tried concert photography, you should. It is, again, it's one of those genres of photography that's very specialized. And we have a couple customers at the store who it's what they focus on. And it's the type of thing that you need a lot of practice to do it well.
Yes.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Sure.
We got Bob Ackerman. I think I saw you in here, right? There you are.
Yep.
And this. Boy, this sure looks like Jim Thorpe. Is that where this is?
Yeah, it's a Jim Thorpe. Yep.
It's a great shot.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see the train there. I was driving through. I was going to go up and then just take pictures in general. And I saw it sitting there on the tracks and said, okay, I got to. So that's what I spent my whole time doing, was just taking different angles of it. And then I obviously put a bunch of layers on and masks everything out because of the house is in the background and cars parked along the
okay.
road. And
Okay, yeah, because I was going to ask Bob if this was like almost straight out of camera, because I'm kind of familiar with that area, and I was wondering, like, was there truly that much fog and mist that you were able to isolate the subject so well? So this was a good bit of post-processing work, huh?
a lot of post-processing, yeah.
A lot.
Because in the front of the train there, I mean, that's almost right next to the sidewalk on the street. So there was, parking meters and cars there, and
Oh, geez.
and houses on the other side of the street, and a lot of distractions. And like, spent
Well, it worked out
hours
well.
Wow.
trying to
Yeah.
mask it
You
out.
did a really good job on it. It looks very natural.
Yeah. How much
Very-
time do you think you spent on that? That looks like a lot of.
Yeah, it was. I'm thinking at least 3 hours, because like I said, I tried different combinations of texture overlays and backgrounds, and I was happy with what I got.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect Christmas card kind of photo, or
Oh, yeah.
holiday calendar kind of photo. It's very nicely done. Now, I don't recall, what finish did we do on yours, Bob?
It's the shiny, the metallic.
Yeah,
look.
this is
The
the metallic,
okay.
shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this brass
Now-
bell just really lights up on there.
Yeah, it came out beautiful. I mean, I had
Really
things
good.
printed already on metal, but I like this even better. So I definitely want to get it framed.
Oh, good.
I really
Yeah, very
like
nice
this
shot.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's see. Janice Hess, Sunrise. Holy moly.
We all want to be there now.
No fooling.
No snow there.
Yeah. Well, it could be a beach in Texas, so you never know.
Yeah, right.
Is Janice on with us? I didn't know.
I didn't see her in here tonight. I think she wasn't able to make it.
I
Okay, that's a shame.
I actually think this picture looks better in print than showing up on a computer screen. I thought that came out really neat on the print.
Actually, most of them do. Yeah, this is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's part
You
of
can't really see the
our
color in the
challenge.
sky.
Yeah, and that's part of our challenge with doing this kind of share is, Scott's using a document camera and we're on restricted bandwidth and all of that. But we wanted to be able to, at least talk about the images. So I'm glad you appreciated your image when you saw it, and that the quality of what the prints are. Because I recall seeing this one on the metallic, and it definitely had that pop.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right. Whoever made the comment, you can't, on what we're showing here, appreciate the rich blacks and the other colors that just come through on this. And it's a shame she's not on, because I'd really love to know if this was staged or kind of like,
Yeah.
I think it was Bob's train. Was this the type of thing? Hey, I'm down at the beach and look what's going on.
Like everything is worked out so well here that I I really wanted to ask her, like, okay, did you have this person ride through and plan this shot? Was it like, it's got to be, right? Like she's doing the pose and even the hair flying back and the wind and the horse's mane streaming back here. And then, like, I love the way she's timed it. You can see like the little splash up around the hooves just as he's hit the water.
Yeah, the composition's great.
Yeah, that's a neat photo.
You know, when you talk about the rule of thirds and, you know, leading into the image, very classic and nicely done.
Yeah. It's this one. Oh, this one's Aaron's. All right, so tell us a little bit about this one. I saw Aaron in the chat.
This was taken at Antelope State Park in Utah. I was out there recently in January for a ski trip, and we took a little detour to see all the different animals in nature there.
Wow.
And
Well,
so
neat.
this was you were going down a road and happened to see this, or like how did you actually come about getting? I assume I don't know the difference between bison, buffalo.
I believe it's a bison, but you take a road around the island, and there's different herds, and we managed to find one that were up on top of a little chunk of mountain, and I used my telephoto lens to capture it.
So this guy was a good distance off then.
Yeah.
You didn't want to worry about him charging, huh?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, well, nicely done. Now, and what did you think of the actual? Had you had it printed before?
Yeah, I think I ordered an 8x10 previously from you guys of this photo to be framed, and it's one of my favorite photos now.
Right.
And now, is it metallic we did, Scott?
Yeah, this one's one of the metallics as well.
Okay, and what did you think of that finish, Aaron?
I didn't actually receive them yet.
Oh.
I'm in my dorm right now, and I accidentally had them shipped home, so
Oh,
eventually I'll be able to see it.
all right. Well, you're going to have to post a note back in our Facebook page what you think once you see the metallic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the
'Cause
I like the way it's picked up. There's like this glossiness in the grass, really kind of adds this sort of shimmer to it. It's neat looking.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
see the actual photo, Aaron, you'll be very impressed. It was so much better holding it in my hand than it does on the screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the difference in color on the bison's fur is really kind of pops out because of the metallic, I think.
Yeah.
The kind of brownish gold in his fur.
Mm-hmm.
Or her
And
fur.
the good news is, if your other print was 8x10, you can swap this one out for the other one. So.
Let's see. What do we got here? Candido Velez Jr. Oh yeah, he's been on a tear with the like old Pennsylvania barns and farmhouses and stuff lately on the Facebook group. If you've seen any of his stuff, this is our first.
Yeah, it's a shame he couldn't.
Of the deep
Yeah,
map.
it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame Candy couldn't join us this evening. He's been on a lot of our trips and expeditions, and I'll tell you, he is. I don't know if any of you've had the pleasure of being on one of our trips with him, but he's just such an energetic, full of life, loves photography kind of person. You know, hopefully he'll at least get to watch this on YouTube or Facebook, because what you're seeing on the screen, as we've all kind of commented on, is not doing the image justice, unfortunately. You know, for those of you who did get your prints, what was your thought of this deep map?
Yeah, I think that was a good choice. The
Yeah,
way the sky is.
Sorry.
What do you apologize? Y'all are allowed to talk.
I know
That's
the
what
delay
we
makes
do.
it hard. Yeah, go ahead, Mark. What were you saying?
I was saying I think the papers was really good because of the way the sky looks. It really enhances that kind of powder blue vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. The sky really did a great job with the sky.
Yeah, I think like a
It's
couple of
snow
these.
pop.
What I like about the deep matte is it reminds me of like, I don't know, like when we would do black and white photography in the wet darkroom, and you could get a real like papery paper surface rather than like you can do glossy or you can do matte, but you can never really get like a truly completely matte finish. And I'm a fan of the deep matte for that stuff.
Again,
It's a neat
it had
shot.
nice composition. Yeah, following rule of thirds. Certainly a very minimalist image in terms of a lot of negative space, but it works. He managed to not have the snow. When you see the print in person, again, it's a little tough on the screen, but his foreground's not blown out.
Mhm.
It's certainly a white snow, but he retains a decent amount
Horrible.
of texture to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Neat. Hey, this one's from Dorothy. Dorothy let me know that she had she called this one New Beginnings. She just let me know this afternoon that she had something else going on and wasn't able to make it tonight. But this was, she said this was a trip down to Chincoteague, which is a place like her and her husband go down there pretty frequently. That's their sort of their standard vacation place. And just happened to catch the shot. This was another one of those like pulled off the side of the road to get the shot real quick. Just happened to catch the scene.
It's a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Oops. This is another one where that metallic really kind of picks up that like the sunlight and the shininess.
Yeah, metallic really looks good in this picture as well. You're right.
Yeah. Like all those little highlights kind of light up in the sun there.
Timing is everything.
Yeah. Yeah, what did she tell me about this one? There was it was one of those just like happened to catch the photo. Who have we got here? Joseph Gallagher, Car and Barn.
Yeah, now this one, I'm going to
That's
say,
cool.
as soon as we saw this one come in, we knew what we were printing this one on. Is he on with us? Is Joseph on?
I
No,
don't
Joe-
think he was able to make it tonight, no.
No,
Oh,
Joe's not
shoot.
with us.
Yeah.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
wait, I do
for
see a
those of you
Joe
who
in here.
actually,
Is that him?
No, Joe's not with us. He's a friend of mine. This is Brian.
Oh, okay.
okay, because this was one that I think just had, when we talk about pop, I mean, again, for those of you who saw your prints, what did you think of how this one was on an actual photograph, not on a screen?
It looks great. Really, the colors really pop, especially in the front truck or car.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like this is a neat. Oh, Joe typed into the chat, "I am here."
Oh,
He must have hopped on. Because I don't see his photo. I don't see him.
Oh, I don't think his camera's on. I've just got a block here on the Hollywood Squares bit that says that just says Joe.
It even seems like you have more detail in the print with that finish. I mean, it's not only the colors popping, but I think the detail actually comes out more.
it's a lot sharper looking.
Yeah.
This is a Joe. If you don't have your mic or anything, maybe you can just throw it in the chat. But how much time did you spend on the post processing here? I like the selective color, the way that was handled. Just really cool.
Yeah,
Took you 8 hours. That's dedication, man.
well, I'm going to say it paid off. Because Joe, I'll say, again, your composition is fantastic. We have enough foreground to set the tone. You got enough of an elevation over the front vehicle to get some separation with the fence and all between the front
like
vehicle
right here
and
in
the
the
stuff.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, if you'd been a few inches lower and they blurred together or blended together, it would not have had the same effect. So I think this is wonderful. I really hope you enjoyed the print of this, and I hope you do something, with it, because it definitely had a phenomenal amount of pop to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what Joe was trying to say is he did all of that with a mouse, not a pen and a pad.
Holy mackerel.
That's a guy with a lot of time on his hands.
Well, it is that time of year. That's a good, like that's the one nice thing about now is you can kind of sit back and go through what you have and, hit some different post-processing, some cropping, some different things, and all of a sudden you have a different image. Or you have an image you love, compared to an image you like. So.
Yeah, winter is sort of the photo editing season. Very cool. I like that one a lot. This one's neat. Check this one out. Speaking of post-processing, I got to zoom out a little bit here. This is another one of those. When I saw this, I knew immediately what surface this was going to be on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Scott. Like kind of how we talked about Phil's frozen photo as being a superb example for that. This definitely just screams smooth fine art.
So this is Pam Fisher Vale.
Oh, sorry, deep matte.
Deep matte, yeah. Close. They look a little similar.
And Pam, what did you think of your print?
I like the print. I want to put it in a frame actually. I like that flower because it seemed like its leaves were doing this. I picked up a bouquet of those tulips in Wegmans because I like the color. There's just a hint of green. Can't see it so much. Just right there, like where the leaf on the left side meets the petals of the tulip. But there was just a little bit of green in each one of those yellow tulips, which is why I picked the bunch, because I like the contrast of the yellow and green. This was a surprise because I didn't see it when I first picked the bunch. And yes, post-processing, I'm guessing what I did, maybe probably topaz. I don't remember which blend of the textures that I used, if they were my own or if they were Infinity, because I have Infinity on my Photoshop as well. I like to use, but I just remember flipping it around because this kind of white creamy part at the bottom was to the right of and it just looked awful. But then when it came down, it made sense with the base of that stem there, and it looked a lot better. The purple contrasts nice, and the blues with the yellow. So that's what I ended up with, and I was happy with it. It was fun.
So, question: how much of that was a planned shot versus you kind of wandered into the concept as you were editing?
Well, definitely the flower, I saw the shot because I have a little ledge like by my kitchen sink where I put my flowers. So I turn them around as they open up, because they were all buds at first. And as I played with that and turned it around, I saw the flower that I liked. As far as the post-processing, it's just kind of evolves as I go. It's a feeling more than pre-planning most of the time. So yeah, that's what happened with that one.
Well, it worked out very well.
Yeah, there's some really nice choices made here. Like I really like this painterly sort of background.
Yeah,
I think that background is perfect for that picture.
Yeah. So this was just a combination of things between Photoshop and Topaz, and sounds like an everything but the kitchen sink kind of editing process.
Yeah, kind of like those cookies from Panera Bread, you know, those chocolate chip ones that have the kitchen sink. Kind of like
It's really nice. Like, I don't think we have a lot of other, a little bit, but like this, like kind of taking it almost in the direction of an illustration, like starting with the base photo and using that for a jumping off point to get to this sort of final result.
yeah,
It's really neat.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a great technique because, you know, my wife's an art teacher, and we'll go somewhere and she'll have her sketchbook out, and, you know, she'll do a sketch of a city scene or whatever the case is, and I take a photo of the same thing, and we get back and I look, and I got telephone poles and stop signs and other things, and I look at her sketch like, where'd all that go?
Yeah.
You didn't have to do any post-processing.
Yes.
You know, so
Takes
So-
out what I wanted. Yeah.
you know, so I get a little jealous at times because, you know, she didn't have to go into Photoshop for hours and clone out the telephone pole and stop sign and everything else. But anyway, to me, this is always an interesting approach for your photography because it's taking it into a new direction. You're giving it a different type of life, and it's now a different image. You know, it's a type of thing. It'd be interesting to see straight out of camera next to this, because I think it's good for all of us as photographers to realize, you know, just because you shot X doesn't mean your end product is X. And, you know, to kind of open up and stretch our minds a little for what elements do I have here? What can I do with those elements? This is a beautiful image that, you know, I think would look great in a lot of uses, and certainly, you know, on display in your house.
Yeah. Memorialize the flower. Yeah.
I do have a note from Bob Renner in the chat. Apparently his mic is still not working, but he did say that it was fun watching the grizzly bears catching salmon. I guess that's what's going on here. Which, yeah, now that you mention it, like I can see like they're rooting around in the water. This one, just like face down in the water. It's just like,
I still think that's pretty brave unless you had a super long lens.
He did mention farther up in the chat that Mama came within 30 feet of them. So
Yeah, it was taken in Alaska.
Bob, 30 feet? I would be, I would probably be passed out on the ground at that point. I guess you're lucky there's a lot of other food there, huh?
As long as you don't bother her, or she doesn't feel like you're going to threaten the cubs, I guess you're probably, I wouldn't want to test it. All right, who we got here? Dustin Anderson, Iris. I think Dustin was able to join us tonight, but that's a neat shot right there. What's funny is when I saw this, I immediately thought, oh yeah, metallic, of course. Well, you got all the little water beads and stuff on there, and it's already kind of shiny. But I guess Karen made the choice to print this on the deep matte, and it's a neat look.
Yeah, and well, that's a good point, Scott, because a lot of the images, when you have an image like this, and several of the others we've seen, the metallic and the deep matte work, I don't want to say equally well, but they each bring out different characteristics in the image.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we'll have to look at maybe a future when we print on both or something, because, you know, the metallic, as you've all seen, gives you that super pop, where the deep matte gives you that artistic flavor. And this is an image that really could kind of go either way, right? You have the water beads, as Scott mentioned, you have the rich colors, but it's also a flower, and it's kind of those two tones of the purples and greens. And what did you guys think of the prints you received of this one? Give me some feedback on.
I like the way it kind of stilled the water droplets. It almost makes them look like beads, almost.
And the separation of the colors, the green versus the purples, is kind of dramatic.
Yeah, I think what I liked about it is what it did with the soft focus background and the way it just kind of, I don't know, fades out into almost that painterly sort of a quality.
Yeah, and obviously, as you're all seeing, you can get the metallic or the deep matte in 4x6, which are, oh geez, I shouldn't guess, but I think 59 or 65 cents each. So if you're not sure, spend less than $1. Try it both ways, and then you know what you want to do for your larger image.
Right, right.
A very nice shot.
Be a while before we see the irises come up through all the snow, but they're coming. They'll get here eventually. Hey, Ken Schaffner, you're up. We've got.
Yeah.
Where was this one?
Drexel Park.
Oh, okay.
You just below to the south. There's a dam at the south end.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the creek just below it.
I was chasing one of these guys up the Monocacy one day, and like I would get just close enough to be able to get a picture, and then he'd fly away, and I would get just close enough to get a picture, and he'd fly further up the stream. Chased him about a half a mile and gave up.
They're very finicky. But I always say in taking pictures of wildlife, you get what the animal's going to give you.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This one gave me a good shot.
That's a good motto, Ken.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and yeah, because I've seen them around a few times, and you're right. It's kind of like Scott said. They tend to really play with you, you know, in terms of teeth. But you know, it is a beautiful bird. It's a graceful bird, and you know, it's interesting you have that along with the mallards. So you kind of have, you know, the rare along with the more common, you know, which is an interesting element. And now, what did we do this one on, Scott? Was this metallic or?
This one's deep matte.
Deep matte? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm starting to like for some of these foresty, outdoorsy looking ones.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't really thought of before. Like normally I think of deep matte for like portraits with a nice soft focus background, but I like what it's doing to things like foliage.
Had you printed it before, Ken?
No.
What did you think of your print?
I really like it. The only thing is, and I see it on, you know, looking at the image on the screen, is that the heron's bill sort of blends into the background. It doesn't stand out well. But that's the way
Trying to
it
find
is.
a way to get them a little separation somehow.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, is this your main subject, Ken? Are you out there chasing the birds all the time, or?
No, I go out there occasionally. Yeah, it's a good place to catch
that again
dogs.
is a. Yeah, and again, that I know we have several staff who go after those, and it's definitely a patience game, as you say.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like I thought I was. This one I was chasing around the Monocacy. I thought I was doing a good job of being sneaky. Every time I got like just almost close enough, we'd pick up and leave. So I chased a kingfisher around the better part of a summer too. Never did get a photo of him I was happy with.
They're even tougher.
What do we got? Oh, hey, it's me. Martin Towers Sunrise. I knew that was going to wind up on metallic. All right, so this one was...
Right, those hues just lended themselves to it, so...
That was...
Who shot this one?
This one was me.
Oh, did you get any of it in floating?
Yeah, I was out there with the drone on the day that they took it down as well.
Cool.
But this was shortly before the implosion, just a few weeks before.
Gotcha.
So this was, they had completed interior demolition. So there were no internal walls or anything. So if you got there at sunrise, I lined it up. I used PhotoPills is the app that I use. We talk about it in some of our classes to figure out exactly where the sun was going to come up. So that if I was out there, like just as the sun was coming up, I placed the sun behind Martin Tower so that you get the light shining through and all the windows are lit up because of the sunrise right behind it.
Yeah. Cool. Good shot.
Thanks.
I was wondering about that when I saw it, Scott. So they actually took out the interior walls before the demolition?
They did most of the demo. By the time they blew it up, by the time they did the actual implosion, most of the building was already gone.
Yeah. Pretty much stripped on the inside from what I heard.
There was like nothing but the skeleton in there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. So they spent a long time doing interior demolition. And then when they blew it up, that was whatever was left. So this was just completely hollow, which let the sun shine right through it. Made for some neat pictures for about a month or two. And then I'm not going to get that shot again.
For sure.
Oh, is this from a drone?
Yeah. Yeah, this is my Inspire 1 with an Olympus 25 millimeter f1.8 lens. So not the normal drone perspective, which tends to be very wide angle. I like that one a lot for the normal perspective. It gives things kind of a different look than you normally see from drone photography. So this is me somewhere around the Lowe's parking lot, I think, is about where this one. Well, no, this one wasn't Lowe's parking lot. This was back in that neighborhood. But that was, again, photo pills and looking at the map and figuring out, okay, the sun's going to come through this way, so I'm going to park over here. Out there at
Interesting. Yeah.
stupid o'clock in the morning.
When you get the good shots.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got Brian Seckler. Do we have Brian on here tonight?
Yep, I was just talking to you about yours.
There we go. Now that's the prototypical not deep matte, the metallic.
Metallic. Yeah.
Fireworks is like the perfect subject for this paper, the way that stuff just really shines. And the black gets really, really deep, inky black.
Is that what that's on, a metallic?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never had one done in metallic. And I have to say, when I picked up the prints, as we all know, they were in the plastic folder. And the 8x10 actually was staring at me. I thought, wow, that didn't come out too bad. And it didn't really hit me until I got home and took everything out of the pack. And it's like when I pulled it out of that plastic, it's like, wow, like it just blew me away. I thought it was just an incredible finish. And I like it a lot, to say the least. And I'm pleased with that shot and the finish.
Yeah, so Brian, how many were you taking to get that exact timing on the trails?
Well, that was the second year. I shot that in 2012. I have one folder that I shot the year prior, and then a couple years thereafter. Believe it or not, I think 2012, and I believe, without looking at my metadata, I think I was shooting the 7100 to Nikon. And there's probably 100, 150 shots. And I probably got 4 or 5 that, really, that I really, really like. I mean, there was a lot of them that were okay, but there was always something not quite right with it. So for that amount of shots and to get that many, what I would call acceptable photos for me, if I get 4 or 5, I'm tickled pink.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you play with the factor of the ambient light and, getting the right combination of your f-stop, ISO, shutter speed to get the right amount of trails.
Well,
and a lot of people also
Yeah, actually, I was shooting it on bulb. So
Okay, yeah.
I had the hand remote,
Mhm.
you know, the wired remote, and it, as you probably know, and most people shot, and maybe not everybody, but a lot of people have at least tried it at some point in time. It's like somebody said earlier, timing's everything, and it is all about timing. You listen for the thud when it launches, and then try and calculate when it's going to open and how long it's open, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Anybody that's ever tried it is it's timing. It's
Yeah.
really what it is.
Yeah, you kind of sit there and you start to get a feel for it, like, okay, they take about this long, so that's when I'm gonna. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, what happened for me for several years, because when we lived in Allentown on the West End there, I would try to shoot the different events that were going on. And right as I was starting to get my timing down was when there was just so much smoke in the air from all the previous fireworks going off. It kind of took away from what I was able to get, you know, so I got in that rhythm, and then you couldn't get that deep black in the sky and everything else. So this was nicely done.
Yep.
I'm glad you enjoyed the print.
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm contemplating to have one like a 16 by 20 reproduced. So I'll put that in a frame along with the 8 by 10. I'll frame the 8 by 10, but I'd like a little bit big one as well.
Good.
And let's see. Mary Grusella, Winter Sunset. I think I saw Mary in here. Maybe she ducked out.
No, I'm here.
Oh, good. You want to tell us a little bit about your photo?
Yeah, hi. I took it at a place called Pine Run Reservoir. It's in Bucks County. And my son and I were just walking along the trails, and right at sunset, and like the colors just like popped out. And right when that was happening, just a flock of geese were flying into the little reservoir, and I just start shooting away.
Did you go out there to take pictures, or did you just happen to have your camera with you?
Well, I was trying to find there's supposed to be sandhill cranes there, so I was looking for them. But I didn't see any, but saw a bunch of geese.
Now, you guys are going to have to help me out here, because she said sandhill cranes, and I saw like 4 heads go. So who can fill me in on a sandhill crane? Because I've never heard of a sandhill crane.
I just heard they
some
were
of you
there.
guys have chased it. Okay, because I saw several guys nod like, "Oh yeah, sandhill cranes, good luck," kind of thing. Or that's not a bird I don't do a lot of bird shooting, but I'd never heard of that before. Have you actually seen them in the area, or?
I heard from other. I've seen other pictures on Instagram that they were at this location, but the times I've gone, I've never seen them.
I've shot some out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Crane's a large bird. They're very distinctive because they have red plumage around their eye sockets. It really pops out.
Oh, cool.
Hey Mary, I didn't catch. Where did you shoot this?
It's called Pine Run Reservoir. It's like New Britain, Chalfont area.
Oh, okay. I've heard of them. I've never chased them. As far as I've gone, I've shot some eagles, got a ton of window. But there's supposedly a very, I would say very popular location. I'd have to research. I can't recall where it is. I don't think it's all that far from Tonawingo, maybe another hour somewhere, but I'm not sure the direction, where they're really, really common. If you Google it, you should be able to find it.
Okay.
The sandhill cranes, I've not seen anything around here, but they're not too far away. I would say probably within 3 hours you should be able to find them.
Okay, good to know.
Our resident wildlife photographer's weighing in. Steve Miller says sandhill cranes are uncommon visitors in the Northeast. They're typically in the Midwest from Texas to Canada. Thank you, Steve.
But the question is, does Steve have a picture of one? We'll have to see. But Mary, this was a really wonderful shot. I mean, the color on this, just the tones.
For everybody at home,
very nicely done.
My camera is not doing justice to the color in this shot.
Not at all.
It
really pops in.
Yeah.
It's so washed out on my screen compared to the beautiful print.
Like, I mean, I've got a good camera overhead here, but it's still not doing like a
It kind of
printed
reminds
thing
you
is
of
a different
what
thing.
we're seeing on a screen. Reminds you of you bring a raw file into Lightroom before you do anything to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe when we do this again, we'll actually put the files up on the screen, Scott, or something. Just to, I feel we're doing an injustice to some of the images because having seen the photos, it's, fortunately for the folks who were in the print swap. Yeah. Yeah, the folks on the Zoom who were in the print swap got to see the prints.
That looks good, right? Like that, the way you have
there
it.
You go. That's a little better.
There you go. Just have to practice each one. Mary, did you have it printed before, Mary, or was this the first time you had it printed?
Nope. First time printing.
Oh. Good. Well, I hope you do more of it because, this was, again, I thought this was just a calendar kind of shot. It's just a very nicely done, rich colors.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Robert Redder is holding up a picture of a sandhill crane.
Yeah.
There they are. He's got pictures. Thank you. I like this one. Brenda Lindsay.
Yeah, I love that one.
That's a cool shot.
That's
an awesome shot.
Yeah, it is. Was it that said that the wildlife photography is whatever the animal chooses to give you? That right there is a gift. Look at that.
Yeah, some will pose.
Like the direct eye contact. This has got to be a pretty young one, right? He looks like he's still got some of his baby floof.
Yeah, we have at the Urban Photo Park behind Dan's, I'm not sure how many of you have seen that, but we actually pretty much most every year have a fox family out back there. And it's great because it's an opportunity for us as the staff is coming in oftentimes in the morning to see the kits running around or different things going on. And we've certainly, because of that proximity, gotten some really cute fox photos. But every time I've been around them, they're so skittish. And even when I went to Lakota that time, the Wolf Preserve, which also has a variety of other animals there, I'm really wondering, as to assume she's not on with this, how far away and what focal length this lens was, because I don't know a ton about foxes, but unless it's because this was still a kit, like Scott's speculating, that wasn't quite yet that skittish, I'm shocked that it just really sat there and just gave that look and didn't just take off.
I wonder if she was on the ground.
I'm sure she must be. This is a very low angle, right? Like this is right down at eye level with this little guy.
If you're lucky enough to have the print on this one in front of you too, there's no comparison between the print and the computer on this one.
Right. So much more detail in the print.
The print's fantastic. You can see every hair.
Yeah.
And was that the deep matte, Scott?
Yeah, this is the deep matte.
Yeah.
I kind of like how that's come out here.
Almost gives it an animated quality.
That's an interesting comment, Scott. I like that. I like that thought. Yeah.
It's a sort of a Disney character. He's that's it. We've I mean, like, you can't sneak up on them, right? Like, they know you're there. A fox can hear a mouse like from 30 feet away through 2 feet of snow, right? Like, its head is like 50% ears. There's not sneaking up on this guy. So I guess he's got to just be comfortable with you there.
That's a good point. I mean, obviously, though, even just the composition, when we look at, it's just so perfectly framed. It's just really wonderfully executed. I'm glad the print is showing the detail better than what we have on the screen here, because I recall saying this, and it was a really stunning image.
And just a lot of patience, I guess, to just sit there and wait and let them, you know, not scare them off. This is another one. This was that deep matte. This is Mark Lenberger. Hey, you're up.
Yep. So this is a place that I've been to multiple times. It's not far from where I live, so it's pretty easy to get to. And I always had thought about trying to shoot it during a snowfall.
Mm-hmm.
And this one I shot on January 3rd. So I was super pleased that I could actually get out there to do it, because it's been on my to-do list for a couple of years now. And so fortunately I was able to do that. I was able to get several shots that day that I was really happy with, but this one I was real pleased with, especially the way the snow was not really wind blowing during the time that it was snowing, and probably maybe 40 minutes after I shot this, it stopped. So I felt very fortunate to be able to do that.
Well, man, it paid off. That's
again,
nice.
A nice composition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the pop of the red. You know, they helped you out with their paint choice for the doors there, but you have the soft muted Pennsylvania winter colors all around, and you have those red doors coming out at you. Nicely framed. I love just in the foreground with the corn. I assume it's corn stalks or
looks like
soybean or something there. Nicely done.
Yeah, like the snow is perfect. That's exactly what you want, right? Like,
yeah, being able to still get it where it's in the trees but not too heavy and melt it off and all those kinds of things. I mean,
so you just keep that. That's ideal. It looks great. That must have been just one of those, like, okay, time to grab the camera and go out.
Oh yeah, no, I unfortunately that was a Sunday. I was still off from work, so the timing was perfect.
Nice.
Well, but Mark, I think you picked up though on something there that just for everybody on with us, you had a plan. You know what I mean? Like you saw this ahead of time. You knew the situation you had to wait for. You watched for it. Because again, as we've said multiple times, timing everything. And when I had the opportunity to shoot more than I'm able to currently, I had that same type of thing. I kind of knew nearby what some photos were that I saw in my head that I kind of said, okay, well, on a real foggy day or on this kind of event, I'm going to go here or there. And that's a great thing for us as photographers to have in the back of our minds. If you were on with us before, Scott had said about how when the weather gets crazy, grab your camera. And if you ahead of time know what type of weather you're going to head where or what type of day you're going to head where, that's one of those things I don't think enough people a credit to being able to get those images is that forethought, the planning ahead of time. You can definitely get great stuff in the spur of the moment when it gives it to you. But this is a good example that Mark has of that, just, waiting.
Yeah, it's taken me a lot of years to develop enough of a intentional habit of going back to the same place multiple times at different times of the day. And, whether it's at night, it doesn't matter when it is, but I just I'll go back to the same spot. And I never felt comfortable doing that because I always perceived some things just simply as a failure. But when you can see the same place multiple times in different environments, you start to develop a vision of what you may want to create. And Mike, you're spot on. This was kind of a culmination for me, of exactly that scenario.
Yeah, and when you have something nearby like that, shooting it multiple times throughout the year, different times of day, helps you to really see, just even from a learning experience, when you can kind of see what your result is, and you can equate to, okay, this is what the lighting was when I was there. What did it end up giving me, in my file? That really helps you make that connection that is kind of bridging that last little gap of understanding for being able to get your mind's eye for the picture you see there actually coming out of your camera.
I'm thinking of somebody like Claude Monet who would paint the same subject over and over again in different types of light, different times of day. You'd see the same subject from the same perspective, and just it's the light that's different, right? And how drastically that changes the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Ansel Adams said that you make a great photograph.
Yeah.
Another good example of just going back to the same place, different times a day, over and over again until it was what he wanted it to be. If you have that kind of time.
This one is Scott Armstrong.
Yep.
Nope. Got to zoom out a little bit. We got another vertical.
Is that a ruffed grouse?
It is.
Oh. Scott, let me tell you why I said that. I'm sorry, but it's a great image. Okay, but years ago, one of my first camping adventures, Hickory Run State Park. You probably know where that is, right? So I'm out. I think I was a teenager at the time, trying camping for the first time. Guess what attacks me?
Well,
I'm sorry, what?
Funny you should say that, because this was actually taken in Dense Run, which if Steve Miller's on in any capacity, he knows right where I'm talking about. We're always photographing elk out there, but I was scouting for elk and almost ran this guy over with my Chevy Tahoe. He ran right out in front of it into the logging road and was what we call preening. He was basically strutting his stuff for mating season, and all his plumage was flared out, and he would not move. And so get out of the car, and he was just putting on a show. And I was only about 10 feet away from him, and he didn't care that I was there or this huge SUV was there. And they're bold birds if you hit them at the right time of the year. So it doesn't surprise me that you got attacked by a ruffed grouse. So anybody that's a deer hunter knows them well, because they usually have a habit of flying up about 5 feet in front of you as you're going quietly through the woods, and busts everything around you for hundreds of yards. So they're definitely punching above their weight as far as noise and commotion. And there's a scare the pants off you factor with these tiny little birds. But,
when it's your
the
first
Pennsylvania state bird, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Well, and it was funny because somebody who was with the small group of us said, I think that's a ruffed grouse, and we knew just enough to know we probably shouldn't do anything to it if it's the state bird.
Right. It's funny because,
like Scott said, I don't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It knew no fear. Like I said, this this small bird knew no fear.
I guess I'm a hunter, so I had not. I've seen them plenty. I'm originally from upstate New York, been here about 4 years. Love Pennsylvania for its wildlife photography. And I've seen them because I'm out in the wilderness all the time. But I just recently posted this on the Pennsylvania birding Facebook page. And I had some people say, they've spent 40 years trying to find one of these and haven't seen one. So I guess they're a little more rare than I thought. But when I got out, I was shooting down at it, and it really was washing out in some of the kind of the pine scrub on the side of the road. So I laid down right in the road on this one and just got a much better kind of angle and worked on depth of field here. And you guys printed this on the deep mat, which is not a medium I had ever used before, frankly. And I love it. It really, again, if you have the print, look at the print, because if the computer screen just doesn't do it justice. Yeah. It really pops. He's got very detailed plumage.
Yeah, the detail in all here is just fantastic.
Very, very happy with the end product here. I'm a convert, so it's.
It is neat looking. I don't think I've ever seen one in the wild. I've seen them before, like other places. I haven't seen like actually run them across them in the woods.
You might not want to.
This guy was an encounter I will never forget. So it's he strutting his stuff for almost 10 minutes back and forth. I didn't see any other birds or any ladies he was looking to attract, but clearly he was he knew they were there because he was putting on a show. But I'm primarily elk and bald eagle photographer, but this guy was a fantastic find and an encounter that I'll never forget.
Cool. Very neat.
I'm glad you like the print because it definitely, like you said, Scott, there's a richness to the print that we can't convey here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Nope,
yeah, that's just like
I'll definitely try that medium with some other photos. And this is actually my first kind of anything of this nature with Dan's camera. I'm really happy you guys put this on, and I was mostly happy that it only cost me $10 because Steve Miller is always selling me gear every time I see him. So
he doesn't let you go for $10, huh?
I'm a willing participant, but Steve's a really good salesman. This was a great program. I love seeing everybody else's work. I'm really trying to expand past my niches and look into some other stuff, and seeing some other people's work here has really made me take a look at the post-production aspect, which is not something I'm very skilled or experienced with. So I know where my time will be spent moving forward is taking a look at some of those expensive software packages I bought and never used very much. So I'll be looking for more education on that very soon.
Good. Well, I'm glad, Scott, because that is our whole purpose here. It's actually, and I hadn't stopped. I saw the photos, but it didn't really stop to occur to me how many of you were shooting wildlife until I just noticed. Wait, it's another wildlife photo. So it's great that we have several of you who are in that genre. So.
Yeah. And Alan Wood, hidden in the woods. I think this is our final photo for this evening.
Yeah, this is definitely hidden in the woods. There were actually 2 of these dump trucks.
Is that what this is? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. This one's a Chevrolet. There were 2 of them. This is on the way to like somewhere towards Pottstown, Hereford, on 129 South. Not that far from Emmaus, where I live, or close by. And actually, we had some friends in town. We were taking them down to Valley Forge in early January. And there were 4 of us, my wife and myself and Tom and Bonnie. And I saw these, which I don't think any other time of the year other than winter you can actually see these trucks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They, once the leaves get on everything, I'm anxious to go back and see what it looks like, because these were pretty deep. I caught them out the side of my eye when we were driving down. I went back a week or so later, as soon as I could get back there, to actually take these photos, and literally more or less had to crawl on my stomach to get through to where they were. The second one is actually probably when it was parked where it is now, it wasn't this way, but right now there's a small tree that has grown up immediately in front of it, so it looks like it's T-boning this tree. And the other picture of that one that I took, and so I kind of like trucks, mannequins, barns that don't move. So This one's not moving anywhere. It's stuck there with the grapevines, the vines just holding it there.
Well,
I love all that.
I think this is sorry, Scott. I think this is another good example of that. Visit it multiple times a year, different times of day. Because this looks to me like you probably had a perfect overcast day. You have very soft light, because you don't have harsh shadows, blown out highlights. So obviously your timing for the lighting on this was wonderful, and certainly I think it'd be something interesting to see this. Almost if you could kind of remember where you stood or planted your tripod, and do like a 4 seasons of this. Get the same view.
Oh, that would be cool.
And, hit it. All
I definitely plan on going back, particularly in the spring before it gets too heavy.
Yeah.
The one that I take in the true summer months maybe nothing but green, but I don't know.
Well, but
posted on that.
Yeah, but what you do there is you just if you have a lens with any kind of closer focus capabilities, that's where you can get down in there, and maybe you can focus in on some of the detail that's coming through with the foliage and the greenery that's there. This is a wonderful subject with the color and the rust, those textures, everything. There's a lot you could really do with this, from a bunch of different viewpoints. I don't know what kind of lenses you have in your bag, but I would certainly take a variety with you and try, a super wide angle, getting in, close to really get that kind of exploded view. Take a macro lens or some close-up filters and really get down into that rust and some of those different paint chips. I look at this and I go, wow, you could probably spend an hour or two walking around this, getting all different types of perspectives, different views. It's really a great find. It's not anything you can make, right? Yeah, this thing was how many years in the making?
Yeah.
I was excited. I couldn't wait to get back there. And you're exactly right. It was an overcast day. It was actually fairly late in the day. I got out there later than I really wanted to. But,
it worked.
It worked. It did. And the other photo is just as interesting. And,
you got to be thrilled with the finish on this because it came out awesome.
Oh, I was just going to say.
That metallic, like all the rusty chrome and all this stuff just lights up.
You move it around and the chrome around the headlights just pops out on the 8x10 particularly. So I love it, really.
I love these textures, the shape of the twisty vines, and then that, like, it's kind of mirrored in the reflection of the branches and the windshield. Just really, really neat.
I'd say out of all of them, this one was the one that made that the finish made the most difference. I think it's that the paper choice was just fantastic. So, looking forward to experimenting a little more with this experience.
Well, I'm glad, Scott, because like I said before, that was kind of one of our purposes with this, was to expose folks to, we promote the different finishes, but again, just like how you're seeing on your computer screen here, you cannot at all appreciate in an ad you see on the web or even a printed ad on a flyer the benefit of these different materials. And
with the truck and the Fox, I said animate before, but I guess maybe more accurately, it almost gives it a 3D quality. Where it lifts certain aspects of it right off the page. The fur on the Fox looked 3D to me. Certainly the chrome on this truck, on the headlights and certain elements of it, it pops right out. It's a really cool.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean.
Yeah, I think it works especially well where you've got a more shallow depth of field that really allows the foreground and main subject that's in focus to just sort of jump off the print.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, I'm really glad you folks appreciated your photos, because part of what we see all the time is, and our staff can attest to this, a lot of us are out there shooting photos. We're just never stopping to print them. And it's one thing on a computer screen, but boy, when you find the right medium to print it on, it really brings it together and is that final piece. So, while you're all still on, if you have any feedback for Scott or I on this program, as far as the print swap itself, or other things you'd like to see us do, please either let us know now, send us a note in the chat, send us an email, whatever works for you. But again, our goal with this is to find ways to keep inspiring you to take your photos and finding some ways to use those photos. And hopefully tonight, kind of again, broadened the view, gave you some different ideas on what you can do. We could have certainly spent a whole lot more time on every photo going into the actual, gear used and everything else, where we're trying to, move through the images tonight in a timely manner. But as we continue to build out more photo show episodes, we would certainly appreciate any comments, any feedback you have, because we're doing this for you guys. We want this to be something that you feel was worth your time participating in and you were able to benefit from. So any feedback, please let us know.
Well, I think it was an awesome experience, and I think it was a great event. Plus, if you pick up the photos in-house, that gets customers into the store. So I think it's it's a great idea, and I would look forward to doing it again. I thought it was great.
And by all means, this is intended to be a social event. So we printed whatever contact information that people included on the backs of your photos. Go follow each other on Instagram or connect on Facebook and continue to talk about your pictures. And we just wanted to kind of get everybody together and have a little chat and see each other's work and have a little social event here. So yeah, by all means.
Yeah, I think kind of echoing what Scott had said earlier, it's great to be able to see and kind of experience through a print other people's work, and hear a little bit about what maybe inspired them, or the chance opportunity that they had, and be able to kind of delve into that a little bit more, or ask questions about it. I mean, obviously it would be even that much better to be able to do it together in person, because then everybody gets to see the prints instead of just those who pick them up, or got them, or, unfortunately, Aaron, you sent them to the wrong place, so you wouldn't have them when you wanted them. But, but I think this is an awesome format.
We'll get there.
And it's not, looking at them on Instagram or Facebook, it's just not the same as being able to look at them standing there in front of each other, so to speak, and being able to share the experiences, because that's what helps provide inspiration, I think, everybody to enjoy what they're doing, whether they're doing it professionally or just for their own enjoyment. So thank you for putting this on.
Oh, good. That's great to hear. Because
I really enjoyed this. I never participated in any kind of a print swap before, and I wasn't sure why I would want a bunch of pictures that other people took. But actually, I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed seeing the different kind of finishes, the different papers and all that. That made a difference in the picture.
I'm probably going to take all these and tack them up in my classroom back here as sort of a wall of fame for everybody.
Good, good.
Yes, I'd like to just like to say I agree with everybody else. This was a pretty neat start for me, at least anyway. I've not done anything like this before. I did attend quite a few of Dan's little seminars that they held a few years back, and I have to agree. I think it was Scott that said it'd be nice if everybody could just get together in person. Hopefully not everybody's too far away to find time to get down to the store in the near future, but I like the personal contact, to say hello and actually see, the live people.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get there eventually, right?
But yeah, it was really neat. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to anything you guys might do in the future. And like I say, if you can get together, maybe we could just do an 8x10 print for everybody and bring them in and, you know, pass them around, look at them, and save a little bit of printing time and cost for you guys as well. But hey, we got to make do with what we have, and hope everybody stays safe, and we'll see you again in the future.
Well, Brian, I knew you were a fellow photographer when you said something 3 hours away was close. So
yeah, well, if you're a bird guy, were you shooting eagles? Did you say?
Do eagles? I do a lot of elk out in north central PA, which is just shy of 4 hours to get out there. So I'll be going out Monday and Tuesday, I think, to try and get some of the big boys before their antlers drop. So.
Good. Well, if you like the eagles, have you been to Conowingo?
I have. I've got a lot of stuff from Conowingo. I'm in Briningsville. That's where I live. There's a nest out this way. I've been seeing quite a few over Cedar Creek Park right now in town lately. So I've got
yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't seen a nest, but they're definitely fishing the pond there. And
that guy.
Yeah, I know the area where you're in. I grew up in Briningsville.
Okay. Yep. I've enjoyed it out here. I got an 11-point buck a few weeks ago. There's some great wildlife out this way. So.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning, we're if you haven't seen our urban photo park, check that out on our website. Right now, it is covered in snow, unfortunately, but it's a 45,000 square foot area behind the store that is kind of a meadow and natural area. And believe it or not, like I mentioned, even though we're right off of Route 22, we have a fox family that tends to be there most years. We have deer that come through, a lot of other wildlife. And this spring, we're going to put a gazebo out there so that we'll have a gathering spot, because obviously the first place we'll be able to gather will be out in fresh air. So we're going to be putting a gazebo out there so we can do an event like this with some shade and all that. So I suspect that'll be something you can look forward to if you enjoyed this evening, because we kind of, Brian, to your point, we will get to that spot where we'll be able to be in person. Certainly we have a relationship with some food trucks and different folks that we'll see if we can make it a nice, somewhat return to normal as situations allow type of thing. And yes, our ultimate goal is to get back to what we've done a couple of years in the past, where it was, truly everybody together without, worry of face masks and distance and everything, and being able to really socialize, enjoy some time. And in the past, we did supply, what did we do, Scott? I think five copies of your image, so you could share it with 4 or 5 people. So that was truly a swap. Where you would actually go around and say, "Hey, I like that one of yours. Can I get that one?" And this again was kind of the COVID version, adapting to it. But I'm really glad you folks enjoyed it. This was a wonderful body of work. It was really, really nice to see the images, the variety. So I really appreciate your time and working with us. I appreciate your support. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
Is the park open all the time to anybody, or what's the deal with that? I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, it is. If you come out to the store, and you go around to our back parking lot, you can't see it right now because of all the snow plow mounds.
Right. Okay.
But it is an area that is, and Scott can help me out a little bit here. We have 20% of it, maybe 25% that is, we mow the grass frequently to keep the grass low, and there's some fencing and some plants that we use that our senior portrait photographers use for doing high school senior photos. We have a few areas of not boulders, but rocks and other landscape things, again, for posed portraits. But then we also have areas that are just, help me out, Scott, just wild
kind of
meadow grass and bird feeders.
Right.
Oh, cool.
And we purposely
watch out
set
for
up
ticks, but
Yeah. That's normal.
we have a shooting platform. It's a cement area that's under cover, and we have life size, I'm going to call them targets for lack of a better phrase. We have life size targets at varying distances. The distances are marked. So you can try out a lens and see this lens will make this how big from this far away compared to something else. We also have a couple of resolution targets. So it's a bunch of lines and shapes and colors. If you're trying to, again, debate, our sales staff uses the area to help people decide between, maybe product A and product B, if you're trying to evaluate performance of something. And we are going to be, we're going to be adding a lot more to it. We unfortunately had just started ramping that up end of February, early March, and kind of hit the pause button. But you'll see a lot more coming with that. So, Brian, next time you're down, I encourage you to take a peek. Hopefully, once the snow melts, take a peek over the back, and you'll see.
Absolutely.
Yep, the gazebo will be going in once the snow melts. We have to wait for the snow to melt to double check our measurements to make sure it's going to fit, because we're trying to get the biggest we can for the space we have available, so we can again get as many folks in there for demos and other things like that. We already have power that we ran out there before, so it's going to be a really fun area. So keep it on our Facebook page, watch our newsletters. You'll see as we get that up and going.
Okay, good. Thanks for the info. I appreciate it.
Right. You bet. And thank you all for joining us tonight. This has been great. I'm so glad to see everybody's stuff and then kind of hang out and get to hear like the backstory behind the pictures. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've had fun.
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Good time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight for the photo show. Once again, thanks so much to all of you for participating in our first print swap. We hope to do one of these again real soon. Catch us next week. Again, we're going to be talking about macro. We'll be here with a couple of guests, and we hope to see you then.
Okay,
right.
thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Night.
Oh.